See, somebody missed it. He was a prisoner, but he was in charge of the prisoners. Yeah. See, that doesn't even make no sense, because the favor is still on Joseph's life. The dream hasn't come to pass yet, but God still is giving him favor. Yeah. And at the same time, Pharaoh, the king, his butler and his baker, they lost favor with the king. So I don't know what happened. The baker maybe wasn't making the cakes the right way. The butler maybe didn't get the dry cleaning picked up on time. So anyway, they were in jail, and they were in the same jail as Joseph. And then the butler, he has a dream, but there's no one there that can interpret the dream. Joseph says, all right, I'll interpret the meaning of this dream. He tells him, look, within 3 days, Pharaoh's going to take you back. But when he takes you back, I want you to do something for me. Tell the king about me, because I've been locked up unjustly. I shouldn't even be here. But if you remember me, please, when you get out, because you're going to get out in 3 days. And so in 3 days' time, Pharaoh, the king, does take back the butler, but the butler forgets about Joseph. So Joseph is still sitting in jail now, and 2 years pass by. 2 years pass by, and the Pharaoh has a dream, and he's angry because no one can interpret the king's dream. And then the butler remembers 2 years later, he says, oh, you know what? When I was in prison, when you got mad at me and put me in prison, there was this guy in prison, and he interpreted my dream. I think you should get him, and he'll be able to take care of the interpretation for you. So the king calls for Joseph. Joseph comes out of the prison. He gets a little shade, gets some new clothes, and he stands before the king. And he tells the king what is the interpretation of his dream. And he says, oh, king, that's not a problem. What's going to happen is there's going to be 7 years of plenty throughout the land, and then there's going to be 7 years of famine. So he interprets the king's dream, and the king is so excited with Joseph that he puts him in charge of all the land of Egypt. He tells him, you're going to be in charge of my palace, and all my people and the whole kingdom going to be submissive to you, and you only going to answer to me. So how in the world are you going to come out of prison and you're going to be over all of Egypt except for the king? Tell somebody, favor is still on my life. Favor is still on my life, because it seems like situations that are going to be impossible, that you can't come out of these certain situations. But how many go over that we serve a God that specializes in things that seem that are impossible? So he only has to submit to the king. He's over everybody. So Joseph now is feeling good about himself, and so he's went from the pit to being a slave to being in prison, and now he's over all of Egypt except for the king. So when Potiphar threw Joseph in jail, he thought that he was getting rid of Joseph. But if Joseph didn't go to jail, he wouldn't have met the butler who would have told the king about him, who would have put him in a position of all this prestige and power. Or somebody knows, sometimes the devil actually helps you out. Sometimes the devil, when he pushes you, he's only pushing you into position for something greater. He thinks that he's hurting you, but he's actually only helping you. How many know that all things, in fact, work together for the good of them who love God, who are called according to his purpose? So everything is not bad that happens to you. How many know sometimes you're just looking in the wrong direction? You're looking in the direction of, you're looking at the situation for the bad that you think it is, but you're not looking for the way that God is making for you. Tell somebody that something good is getting ready to happen to you. Because when they plot your demise, all that means that elevation is on the way. So 7 years of plenty come, the prophecy was fulfilled, and now they have 7 years of famine. And during the 7 years of plenty, Joseph was very wise, and he was stacking up all the food, and the Bible says he stacked up so much food that they just stopped counting all the food. So now at this time, Joseph, because there was a famine, he was in charge of whoever got the food. Everyone had to come to Joseph to get food. So there was a great famine, and then Joseph's brothers came to Egypt to buy food because there was a famine in Canaan. And so Joseph recognized his brothers when they came, but they didn't realize that they were standing before their brother. And so they bowed down to him with their faces to the ground. So this is the dream that's coming true. This is the one that they tried to get rid of, the one that they tried to mark for dead, the one that they said they didn't even care about, the one that they said had the silly dreams. Now they had to bow before him. And when they realized that this was actually their brother Joseph, they had a flashback to all the dirt that they did on him. And so they were scared. They thought that Joseph was going to have some type of revenge, that he was going to try to kill him or do something. But Joseph just said, he said, look, y'all meant it for evil, but God meant it for my good. I want you to know tonight that the devil meant it for your downfall, but God meant it for a new beginning. I want to tell some young people tonight, don't give up on your dreams. Don't let your dreams die. God's about to do something for you. Oh my God, I feel like preaching a little bit now. The devil tried to kill me, but I'm still here. Look at somebody say, I'm still here. They talked about me, they lied on me, they wounded me, and I even had to cry some tears. But the Lord said, Parrott, I'm letting this happen to you for a reason. I said, Lord, what's the reason? He said, this is for my glory. This is so I can be revealed unto men. Sometimes you got to go through some things so people can understand that, in fact, it's God that was working in the situation. So when they start trying to plot your funeral and plot your demise, you should get excited, because that means that something good is getting ready to happen to you. You need this situation so that you can have a testimony. You need this situation to happen to you so you can tell everybody, in fact, how good God has been to you, that he's in fact a deliverer, that he's a way maker, that he is shelter in the time of storm. So the next time somebody throws you in the pit, you should tell them thank you. Somebody said, that doesn't make sense. Why am I going to tell somebody thank you after I get in the pit? The next time they say that your dream is dead, you should tell them thank you. And next time they tell you that you're not smart enough, that you can't do it, you can't make it, you should say, okay, thank you. Because how many know that if you just hang in there for a little while long, it's getting ready to work in your favor? How many know that if it had not been for the Lord who was on my side, I've been through some stuff, but if it had not been for the Lord who took me out of the pit, took me out of the situation, took me out of the marble clay and established my feet, I wouldn't even know where I would be. But how many are grateful that it was the Lord that stepped in on your behalf when everything seemed like it was going down? This was not the end of the story, but this is the beginning of something better. Tell somebody, I'm getting ready for something greater. I took this, and I know that it's going to be for my good. I know y'all intending to kill me, but I'm going to keep on standing. I know y'all intending to make this work for my detriment, but how many know that this is just a lesson? This is a lesson so I can get ready to go to where I'm going. I can't get no help in the house. How many know that you sitting here and I feel like this? When I come into the house, I have to give God a praise, because I know about all the stuff that I've already been through, and I know about the ways that he already made. So I can't come into the house and just sit and act like I deserve to be here. But I know that it's God's grace and mercy that have allowed me to be here. Some of you need to go ahead and pick your dream back up, because you left your dream down because you didn't think for your own self that you was going to accomplish it. But I come to speak to the house tonight and tell you that your dream is getting ready to come to pass. Hallelujah. Even when your dream hasn't come true yet, it's getting ready to work in your favor. In Psalms it tells us, God says, sit thou at my right hand until I make thy enemies thy footstool. Tell somebody, I'm getting ready to step on the head of the enemy. My dream is getting ready to come to pass. How many know that you're going to go through some different seasons in life? You're going to go through some different stuff in life. But how many know that in due season, and y'all not going to help me tonight, how many know that in due season, you're going to reap if you faint not? And usually people say due season, that's D-U-E, but I started taking on the mantra that due season is D-O season. Because sometimes you got to do something. Sometimes you got to do something if you want a blessing. If you want some type of miracle, you're going to have to do something. Is there anybody in the house that believes that tonight I'm going to have to do something to get to where I'm going? My dream is getting ready to come to pass. But while I'm waiting on my dream to come to pass, I still have to give God praise. I still have to give him glory. How many know that I'm going to bless the Lord? In fact, at all times. And even when it don't look like it's going good, I'm still going to give God praise. My dream is getting ready to come to life. So I come to tell you, hang in there and don't give up. I know it seems like the going, when it's what songs say, the going gets rough, then the tough got to get going. That means that you got to go somewhere. You can't just sit there and take what the devil is throwing on you. Is there anybody that believes that tonight? Sometimes you got to wait sometimes for your season to come. How many know that they that wait on the Lord, they shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like the eagle. Come on, is there anybody ready that's waiting on the Lord?